Lieutenant Jack Harris stood at the large viewing window of Centauri Station, watching as smaller ships moved about like busy insects against the backdrop of stars. The blue and white colors of his Earth Defense Fleet uniform reflected in the glass. His mission with the Xylorian Empire had gone well. Too well, perhaps. Jack rubbed his tired eyes. 6 weeks of careful talks with the Xylorians had left him drained. The aliens were known across the galaxy as conquerors who took what they wanted, yet Earth needed this peace treaty. The Xylorians had better weapons and more ships. A war would cost too many human lives. His communication device beeped. "Lieutenant Harris, report to Admiral Wright's office immediately," said a crisp voice. Jack straightened his uniform and made his way through the busy halls of the station. People from Earth and various alien species moved about their business. Some nodded at him with respect. His work on the treaty was already well known. Admiral Cynthia Wright was waiting when he arrived. Her gray hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and her face looked troubled. "Lieutenant, the Xylorian ambassador has brought you a ... gift, a token of their appreciation for your work on the treaty." Jack frowned. "A gift, Admiral? That's not necessary." "I'm afraid it's already here." She pressed a button and the door to her private meeting room slid open. "And it's not what you might expect." Jack stepped into the room and froze. A slender alien female stood there, her wrists and ankles bound with glowing chains. Her skin was a soft lavender color, and her large eyes were silver with no visible pupils. She wore a simple white shift that barely covered her, though silver. Eyes were wide with fear. The Xylorian ambassador, a tall being with scaled red skin and 4 arms, smiled with too many teeth. "Lieutenant Harris, we bring you this female as thanks for your excellent service. She's a Lyrian from a world we recently brought into our empire. They are known for their beauty and intelligence. This one was a scholar before the conquest." Jack felt sick but kept his face neutral. The Xylorians saw other species as either threats to be destroyed or resources to be used. He had known this when he negotiated with them, but seeing the evidence standing before him made his stomach turn. "Ambassador, while I appreciate the gesture, Earth doesn't practice slavery." "We don't own people," Jack said carefully. The ambassador's smile dropped. "This is not slavery, Lieutenant. This is a gift of honor. The Lyrians serve a better purpose with advanced races like ours. Her people were weak. They had no weapons, no real defenses. Just art and knowledge, useless things." Admiral Wright cleared her throat. "The lieutenant means no offense, Ambassador. Our customs are different, but we appreciate your ... generosity." The ambassador nodded, apparently satisfied. "The female understands basic commands in your language. She has been taught to serve." He handed Jack a small control device. "This controls her restraints and can deliver correction if she disobeys." Jack took the device, fighting to keep his hand steady. "Thank you, Ambassador." After the Xylorian left, Admiral Wright sighed heavily. "This puts us in a difficult position, Lieutenant. Refusing the gift would be a grave insult that could undo everything you've accomplished. With respect, Admiral, we can't keep her as a slave. It goes against everything the fleet stands for." The alien woman watched them, her silver eyes darting between them as they spoke. "I know that, Harris," Wright snapped. "But we need to handle this carefully. The treaty protects billions of lives." Jack looked at the control device in his hand, then at the bound alien woman. "Let me take responsibility for her. Officially, I'll accept the gift. Unofficially, she be under my protection, not my ownership." Wright studied him. "Very well, but keep this quiet. If word gets back to the Xylorians that we freed their gift, it could cause problems." She walked to the door. "I'll give you some privacy to sort this out." When the Admiral left, Jack approached the alien woman slowly. She backed away until she hit the wall, her chains jingling softly. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said gently. He held up the control device. "I'm going to remove these chains. You're not a slave here." The alien woman watched him with confusion as he figured out the device controls. The glowing chains deactivated and fell to the floor with a clatter. She rubbed her wrists, looking at him with suspicion. "My name is Jack Harris," he said, pointing to himself. What's your name? I'm called Eliara, she replied in halting English. Her voice was musical, with an accent he couldn't place. You not want Eliara? Not as property, Jack explained. No one should own another person. You're free here. Eliara tilted her head. Free? Xylorians say Lyrians not deserve freedom. Say we weak, must serve strong. The Xylorians are wrong, Jack said firmly. On Earth and in the Earth Defense Fleet, we believe all intelligent beings deserve freedom and respect. Tears formed in Elira's silver eyes. My home, my family all gone. Xylorians destroy much. Take some ass gifts. She spat the last word. Jack felt a surge of anger at what had been done to her people. I'm sorry about your world, Eliara. I truly am. Look, I need to report back to my ship soon. The USS Dauntless. I can arrange quarters for you there while we figure out what to do next. What will happen to Eliara now? She asked. Well, officially you're under my protection, but really you're your own person. Maybe we can find other Lyrian survivors. There might be refugee settlements somewhere. For the first time, a small smile appeared on her face. Lyrians still exist among stars, hidden places, safe places. The smile faded. But I not know where, was taken before learning escape paths. Jack nodded. We'll figure it out. For now, let's get you some proper clothes and food. Are you hungry? Eliara nodded eagerly. As they left the room, Jack knew he was breaking regulations by not properly reporting the gift. If discovered, he could face serious consequences. But looking at Eliara walking beside him, no longer in chains, but still uncertain in her newfound freedom, he knew he was doing the right thing. On the shuttle ride back to the Dauntless, Eliara sat quietly, staring out at the stars. Your world, she said suddenly. Earth, is it beautiful? Jack smiled. Yes, very beautiful. Oceans, mountains, forests. Cities, too. My world was beautiful once, she said softly. Before fire rained from sky. Jack didn't know what to say to that. Instead, he made a silent promise to himself and to her. He would help her find her people. And somehow, someday, he would make the Xylorians answer for what they had done. The shuttle docked with the Dauntless. As they stepped aboard, Jack realized his life had just become much more complicated. But watching Eliara take her first steps onto the ship, her head held high despite everything she had endured, he couldn't bring himself to regret it. 2 weeks passed since Jack brought Eliara aboard the USS Dauntless. He had arranged private quarters for her near his own and listed her in the ship's records as a cultural consultant to avoid unwanted questions. Few people knew the truth about her arrival, and Jack wanted to keep it that way. Eliara adapted quickly to life on the human ship. Her English improved daily as she absorbed new words and phrases like a sponge. Jack spent his off-duty hours teaching her about human customs and technology. In return, she shared stories of Lyrian culture that fascinated him. My people lived in harmony with our world for thousands of years, Eliara explained one evening as they shared a meal in Jack's quarters. We built our cities within trees and mountains, never destroying what was already there. Jack watched. Her delicate lavender hands moved gracefully as she spoke. Your civilization sounds peaceful? No weapons at all? Eliara shook her head. We had knowledge to make weapons, but chose not to. We believed understanding was stronger than force. A shadow crossed her face. We were wrong. No, Jack said firmly. The Xylorians were wrong to attack a peaceful people. Not you? A soft knock interrupted them. Jack opened the door to find Dr. Lavra Bennett, the ship's chief medical officer, standing there with a concerned look on her face. Lieutenant, we need to talk, she said, stepping inside. Her eyes widened when she saw Eliara. So the rumors are true. Jack's stomach tightened. What rumors? That you brought an alien aboard without proper medical screening? Laura's eyes stayed on Eliara. I should report this, you know. Dr. Bennett, this is Eliara. She's a Lyrian scholar. Her situation is complicated. Lavra crossed her arms. Try me. Jack explained everything, the gift, the chains, his decision to free her. Laura's expression softened as she listened. I see, she said when he finished. Well, as ship's doctor, I should examine her anyway. Make sure she's healthy and not carrying anything that might harm our crew. She turned to Eliara with a gentle smile, with your permission, of course. Eliara looked at Jack, who nodded encouragingly. It's okay, LoveHFY is a healer. She wants to help. I permit this, Eliara said. Later in the medical bay, LoveHFY scanned Eliara with various devices while Jack waited nearby. The doctor's face showed growing interest as she studied the results. Fascinating, she murmured. Your biology is humanoid, but with significant differences. Your cellular structure is more complex than ours. And these readings from your brain activity ... Eliara. Your people must be highly intelligent, Eliara nodded. Lyrians value learning above all else. We train our minds from early age. She was a scholar before the invasion, Jack added. LoveHFY finished her examination. Well, you're in perfect health, and there's no risk to our crew. In fact, she hesitated, then continued. I'd like to learn more about your people's biology, if you're willing to teach me. It could advance our medical knowledge. I will share what I know, Eliara said. Knowledge should grow, not die. LoveHFY smiled. I won't report this, Jack, but be careful. Captain Rogers isn't as understanding as I am. Days turned into weeks. Eliara began helping LoveHFY in the medical bay, sharing Lyrian healing techniques that amazed the human doctor. Jack found himself making excuses to visit them, drawn to Eliara's presence in ways he didn't fully understand. One night, Jack took Eliara to the ship's observation deck. The vast window showed the sweep of stars against the blackness of space. The ship was patrolling near the border of Xylorian territory, far from major shipping lanes. It's beautiful, Eliara whispered. The stars look different from your ship than from my world, but they still bring peace. Jack watched her silver eyes reflect the starlight. Do you miss your home? Every day, she admitted. But it no longer exists as I knew it. I must look forward now, she turned to him. You have shown me kindness when I expected none. Your people are not like the Xylorians. Most of us try to do what's right, Jack said. Though we don't always succeed. A sudden alarm blared through the ship. Red lights flashed along the corridors. Battle stations. All personnel to battle stations. Captain Rogers' voice commanded over the speakers. Jack grabbed Eliara's hand. Come on, we need to get you back to your quarters. They rushed through corridors filling with crew members running to their posts. Jack's communicator beeped. Lieutenant Harris to the bridge immediately, came the order. Jack hesitated, torn between duty and protecting Eliara. Go, she said. I will be safe in my room. On the bridge, Captain Rogers stood tense before the main screen. A small ship was being attacked by a larger vessel at the edge of their sensor range. Report, Jack said as he took his station. Unidentified. Ship under attack by what appears to be raiders, Rogers explained. They sent a distress call in a language we don't recognize, but the universal code is clear enough. The raider ship has Xylorian weapons signatures, added Officer Paul Wilson from the tactical station. But it's not a military vessel, probably pirates using stolen tech. Move to intercept, Rogers ordered. Prepare to engage the raiders. The Dauntless surged forward, its engines pushing it toward the conflict. When they came within range, the raider ship turned to face them. They're charging weapons, Wilson warned. Fire warning shots, Rogers commanded. But let them know who they're dealing with. The Dauntless fired its forward phasers, deliberately missing the raider ship but showing its superior firepower. The message was clear: flee or be destroyed. The raiders chose to run, their ship turning sharply and jumping to faster-than-light speed. Hail the damaged vessel, Rogers ordered. The main screen flickered, showing the interior of the small ship. Jack gasped. The beings on screen had lavender skin and silver eyes. They were Lyrians, Captain, Jack said quietly. I know what they are. Rogers gave him a sharp look but nodded for him to approach the screen. Jack spoke clearly. This is Lieutenant Jack Harris of the Earth vessel Dauntless. Do you need assistance? The Lyrian on screen looked surprised to be addressed in English. Yes, our engine's damaged. Life support failing. His English was as broken as Eliara's had been when Jack first met her. We'll bring you aboard, Jack promised, then turned to Rogers. Captain, these are Lyrians. They're peaceful people who were conquered by the Xylorians. We should help them. Rogers studied him for a moment. You seem to know a lot about them, Lieutenant. We'll discuss that later. For now, send a medical team to the shuttle bay and prepare to take on survivors. When the Lyrian ship docked in the Dauntless's bay, 11 survivors emerged. They were thin and showed signs of hardship, but their faces lit up with hope when they saw the humans waiting to help them. Then Eliara appeared, having heard about the rescue. The Lyrians froze, then rushed toward her with cries of joy. Words in their musical language flowed between them as they embraced. Jack watched from a distance, his heart warming at the reunion. He had kept his promise to help Eliara find her people, but as she turned and caught his eye across the busy shuttle bay, he realized with sudden clarity that he didn't want her to leave. Captain Rogers called Jack to his office the next morning. Jack knew this conversation would not be easy. He stood at attention before the captain's desk, waiting. Lieutenant Harris, Rogers began, his voice stern, you brought an alien aboard. My ship without proper clearance. You falsified records. You kept information from your commanding officers. He leaned forward. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't put you in the brig right now. Jack took a deep breath. Sir, I made a judgment call. The Xylorians gave Eliara to me as a slave, as property. I couldn't accept that. So you lied to your superiors instead? Roger's eyes narrowed. I protected someone who needed help, sir. I would do it again. Rogers studied him for a long moment. Then he sighed and leaned back in his chair. At ease, Lieutenant. I've spoken with the Lyrian survivors and Dr. Bennett. I understand why you did what you did. I might have done the same. His expression softened slightly. But there will be consequences for breaking regulations. I understand, sir. Now tell me everything about this situation. No more secrets. Jack explained how he received Eliara as a gift, his decision to free her, and what he had learned about the Lyrians and their conquered world. Rogers listened carefully. When Jack finished, the captain nodded slowly. The Lyrian leader, Nelox, told me they're headed to a hidden colony, a safe place for their survivors. That's good news, Jack said, feeling a mix of emotions. He was happy Eliara could rejoin her people, but sad at the thought of her leaving. There's a problem, Rogers continued. They believe their ship is being tracked. If we escort them to their colony, we might lead the Xylorians right to it. Jack frowned. So what do? We'll repair their ship, give them supplies, and send them on their way. But Nelox thinks Eliara should stay with us temporarily. Rogers met Jack's eyes. He says she's important to their people. Some kind of special scholar. If the Xylorians recapture her, it would be very bad. I'll continue to protect her, Jack promised. That evening, Jack found Eliara in the medical bay with her fellow Lyrians. They fell silent when he entered. Eliara came to him with a sad smile. My people leave tomorrow, she said, but I stay. Captain Rogers told me, are you okay with that? She nodded. It is necessary. Nelox will contact others. Find safe way for me to join them later. She touched his arm lightly. Thank you for saving them, Jack. I'm glad we found them. He hesitated. Can I ask why you're so important to your people? The captain mentioned you're a special kind of scholar. Eliara glanced at the other Lyrians, who watched them with solemn silver eyes. I cannot say everything, not yet, but I keep knowledge, important knowledge. One of the older Lyrians approached. Lieutenant Harris, he said in careful English, you have done much for our people. Eliara trusts you. We trust you too. He bowed slightly. Please keep her safe. I will, Jack promised, with my life if necessary. The next day, the repaired Lyrian ship departed. Jack stood with Eliara in the observation deck, watching it disappear into the stars. Will you miss them? He asked. Yes, she said softly, but it is not forever. She turned to him. Jack, I must tell you something. Before she could continue, the ship's alarm sounded again. Captain Rogers' voice came over the speakers. All senior officers to the bridge immediately. Lieutenant Harris, report to the bridge now. Jack gave Eliara an apologetic look. We'll talk later. On the bridge, Rogers looked grim. We've received new orders from Fleet Command. We're to proceed immediately to Proxima Station for emergency. Peace talks with the Xylorian Empire. Jack felt cold. What happened? Diplomatic relations have broken down. There's talk of war. Rogers rubbed his forehead. And you, Lieutenant, are specifically requested to join the diplomatic team. Me, sir? You helped negotiate the original treaty. They want you there. Rogers lowered his voice. This complicates the Eliara situation. If the Xylorians see her. Aboard. They'll recognize her and demand her return, Jack finished, his stomach sinking. It could make things worse. Exactly. Rogers thought for a moment. We'll stop at Arcturus Station on the way. She can stay there temporarily. It's a civilian station with a refugee program. She blend in. Jack nodded, though the idea of leaving Eliara behind felt wrong. I'll tell her. Eliara took the news calmly, but Jack saw the fear in her silver eyes. You will come back? She asked. As soon as I can, he promised. You'll be safe at Arcturus. They have good security and there are other refugees there. No one will know who you really are. She stepped closer to him. Jack, what I wanted to. Tell you my feelings for you have grown, beyond gratitude. Her lavender cheeks darkened with a blush. I care for you. Jack's heart raced. He had been fighting his own growing feelings, telling himself it was wrong, that he was just her protector. Now, hearing her say those words, I care for you too, Eliara. More than I should, maybe, she smiled. There is no should with feelings. They simply are. He wanted to kiss her then, but hesitated. Would she even understand the gesture? Did Lyrians kiss? She answered his unspoken question by leaning forward and pressing her lips gently to his. The kiss was soft, sweet, and over too quickly. We have this custom too, she whispered. 2 days later, the Dauntless arrived at Arcturus Station. Kek helped Eliara settle into temporary quarters in the refugee section. She would use a false name and pose as a general refugee, not specifically a Lyrian. Remember, try not to stand out, Jack told her. These peace talks shouldn't take more than a couple of weeks. I'll come back for you. I will be waiting, she said. Jack, be careful with the Xylorians. They do not value truth as humans do. He kissed her goodbye, forcing himself to pull away and return to the ship. The Dauntless departed for Proxima Station. Jack spent the journey reviewing diplomatic protocols and preparing for the talks. But his mind kept returning to Eliara, alone on Arcturus Station. At Proxima. The Xylorian diplomatic vessel was already waiting. Jack joined Captain Rogers and 2 other officers for the initial meeting. The Xylorian ambassador greeted them coldly. Lieutenant Harris, we meet again. The ambassador's eyes seemed to look right through him. I trust you have been enjoying our gift. Jack kept his face neutral. The gift was appreciated, Ambassador. Good, good. The ambassador smiled with too many teeth. Now, let us discuss why the humans are harboring Lyrian refugees in their territory. Jack's blood ran cold. Somehow, they knew. The real reason we want peace with humans, the ambassador continued, is not your weapons or your ships. It's what? The Lyrians left behind, hidden knowledge, secret technologies. We believe the refugees know where to find these things. His forearms spread wide, and we want them back. Jack realized with sudden clarity that this wasn't about peace at all. The Xylorians wanted Eliara and what she knew, and somehow they had discovered she was with humans. Now he had to find a way to protect both Eliara and Earth before it was too late. Jack kept his face calm while his mind raced. The Xylorian ambassador watched him with cold eyes, waiting for a reaction. I'm not aware of any Lyrian refugees in Earth territory, Captain Rogers said smoothly. But even if there were, Earth offers shelter to those in need. It's one of our oldest laws. Noble words, the ambassador replied, but the Lyrians are our subjects. Their knowledge belongs to us, Jack spoke carefully. What knowledge are you seeking, Ambassador? The ambassador's forearms moved in a complex gesture. Before we conquered their world, the Lyrians hid their most advanced science. Secret technology, weapons, medical breakthroughs, energy sources. They scattered this knowledge across the galaxy. His eyes narrowed. We want it back. The peace talks continued for hours. Jack listened and spoke when needed, but his thoughts were with Iliara. If the Xylorians knew about the refugees, they might know about her too. She wasn't safe at Arcturus Station. When the meeting ended, Jack hurried back to the Dauntless with Captain Rogers. "Sir, we need to warn Iliara," Jack said once they were alone. "The Xylorians might find her?" Rogers nodded grimly. "I've been thinking the same thing. But we can't leave these talks. It would look suspicious," he thought for a moment. "We need someone we trust to go to Arcturus." "Dr. Bennett?" Jack suggested immediately. "Iliara trusts her, and she's not needed for the peace talks." "Good idea. I'll arrange for her to take a shuttle." "Officially, she be picking up medical supplies?" Rogers gave Jack a serious look. "In the meantime, you need to learn what the Xylorians are really after. What knowledge does Iliara have that they want so badly?" Jack sent an encrypted message to Iliara warning her to be careful. Hours later, Dr. Bennett left in a shuttle for Arcturus Station. The next day, Jack returned to the peace talks with a new purpose. He needed information. During a break, he approached a junior Xylorian diplomat, who seemed more friendly than the others. "The ambassador mentioned Lyrian technology," Jack said casually. "What kind of advances did they have?" The young Xylorian looked around to make sure no one was listening. The Lyrians were peaceful, but brilliant. They had medicine that could cure almost anything, energy technology that needed no fuel. And double, he lowered his voice. "Some say they found a way to travel between stars without ships." Jack tried not to show his surprise. "That's hard to believe. The knowledge exists in data caches. And in the minds of their scholars," the Xylorian tapped his head. "Special scholars called keepers." Keepers. Iliara had never mentioned this word, but it would explain why she was so important to her people. Why they wanted to protect her. Jack was about to ask another question when his communicator beeped urgently. He excused himself and stepped away to answer it. "Lieutenant," Rogers' voice was tense, "return to the ship immediately. We have a situation." Back on the Dauntless, Rogers met him with grim news. "We lost contact with Dr. Bennett's shuttle. And Arcturus Station reports that someone broke into the refugee quarters last night. Several people were injured." Jack felt cold fear grip his heart. "Iliara? Missing. Security cameras show armed men taking her. They had a small ship waiting." "Xylorians," Jack said, his voice hard. "No, humans." Rogers showed him the security footage. Mercenaries, probably. The Xylorians hired them to do their dirty work. Jack slammed his fist against the wall. "We need to find her." "I've already ordered a change, of course." "We're heading to Arcturus now." Rogers put a hand on Jack's shoulder. "The peace talks will have to wait. The Xylorians will see that as an insult," Jack warned. "Let them." "I won't abandon one of our own." Jack was surprised. "Sir?" "Dr. Bennett is missing too, Lieutenant, and like it or not, Iliara is under our protection." Rogers' face softened slightly. "Besides, I've seen how you look at her. She means something to you." Jack didn't deny it. "Thank you, Captain." The Dauntless raced toward Arcturus Station at top speed. But as they approached, sensors detected another ship leaving the station area. "Xylorian signature," reported Officer Wilson from Tactical. "Small warship moving fast." "Intercept course," Rogers ordered. "They might have Iliara." "Captain," the communications officer called out. "We're receiving a weak transmission. It's from Dr. Bennett's shuttle." "On screen," Rogers commanded. Dr. Bennett's face appeared, bruised, but determined. "Dauntless, do you read me? I've got Iliara, but she's injured. We're hiding in the asteroid field near Arcturus. The Xylorians are searching for us." "Hold on, Doctor." "We're coming for you," Rogers assured her. The Dauntless changed course, heading for the asteroid field. The Xylorian ship noticed and began pursuing them. "They're charging weapons," Wilson warned. "Shields up," Rogers ordered. "But don't fire. Unless fired upon, we don't want to start a war." Jack gripped his console tightly. Iliara was hurt. The thought filled him with rage and fear. The asteroid field was dense, making it difficult for the larger ships to maneuver. The Dauntless slowed, scanning for the small shuttle. There. Jack pointed to a reading on his screen. Shuttle signature behind that large asteroid? The Xylorians see it too, Wilson reported. They're moving to intercept. Get there first? Rogers commanded, maximum speed. The Dauntless surged forward, racing the Xylorian ship to reach the shuttle. They were neck and neck when the Xylorians suddenly fired. Evasive maneuvers. Rogers shouted. The Dauntless dodged most of the blast, but part of it struck their engines. The ship shuddered. Minor damage, reported the engineer. We can still. Move. Return fire, Rogers ordered. Target their weapons only. The Dauntless fired, hitting the Xylorian ship's weapon systems with precision. The enemy ship veered away, temporarily disabled. They reached the shuttle quickly after that. It was pulled into the Dauntless's shuttle bay, and Jack ran there too. Meet it. Dr. Bennett emerged first, supporting a limping Eliara. Jack rushed to them, taking Eliara in his arms. Her lavender skin was pale, and a dark purple bruise marked her forehead. Jack, she whispered, her silver eyes finding his. You came. Of course I came, he said, his voice breaking with emotion. Are you okay? She needs medical attention, Dr. Bennett said. The mercenaries roughed her up pretty badly before we escaped. In the medical bay, Dr. Bennett treated Elira's injuries while Jack stayed by her side. When they were finally alone, Eliara took his hand. They wanted information, she said softly. About the Lyrian caches. You're a keeper, aren't you? Did she asked. That's why you're so important. She nodded slowly. One of the last. I hold the location of 3 major knowledge caches in my memory. The Xylorians cannot be allowed to find them. Her eyes were serious. Our technology in their hands would be dangerous for everyone. The Xylorian ship is still out there, Jack sighed, and there will be others. You're not safe here anymore. I know. I must reach the Lyrian colony. She gripped his hand tighter. Jack, I never meant to bring danger to your ship. To you? He brushed a strand of silver-white hair from her face. You didn't bring this danger. The Xylorians did. He took a deep breath. And I'm going to help you get to your people, no matter what it takes. The ship's alarm sounded. Captain Rogers' voice came over the speakers. All hands to battle stations. 3 Xylorian warships approaching. This is not a drill. Jack and Eliara looked at each other, knowing that their greatest challenge was just beginning. The Dauntless shook as another blast from the Xylorian ships hit its shields. Captain Rogers stood firm on the bridge, issuing commands to his crew. Evasive pattern Delta, he ordered. Keep those shields up. Jack helped Eliara to the bridge. Despite Dr. Bennett's protest that she needed rest, they knew time was running out. Captain, Jack said urgently, we can't win this fight. There are too many of them. Rogers nodded grimly. I know. We've called for backup, but it won't get here in time. He looked at Eliara. They want you, don't they? Yes, she said, or rather what I know. She stepped forward, her silver eyes determined despite her injuries. Captain, I can help. I know the location of the Lyrian colony. If we can reach it, we'll be safe. My people have defenses. Defenses? Rogers raised an eyebrow. I thought the Lyrians were peaceful. We do not attack, Eliara explained, but we can protect ourselves when needed. Another blast rocked the ship. Shields at 40%, warned Officer Wilson. We need to decide now, Jack said. Either we surrender Eliara to the Xylorians. Never, Rogers cut him off. We don't trade lives. Or we make a run for the Lyrian colony, Jack finished. I vote for the second option. Rogers studied. Eliara, can you input the coordinates? She nodded. Yes. Do it, Rogers turned to his crew. Prepare for emergency jump to faster than light speed. We'll need everything the engines have got. As Eliara worked at the navigation console, entering complex coordinates, Jack watched the Xylorian ships on the main screen. They were closing in, trying to surround the Dauntless. They're hailing us, reported the communications officer. On screen, Rogers ordered. The Xylorian ambassador appeared, his red-scaled face twisted with anger. "Captain Rogers, you have betrayed our trust. Return the Lyrian female immediately, or we will destroy your ship." "The woman you refer to is under our protection," Rogers replied calmly. "She is not property to be returned." "She's a thief," the ambassador snarled. "She has stolen knowledge that belongs to the Xylorian Empire?" "Knowledge cannot be stolen," Eliara said, stepping into view of the screen. "It can only be shared or withheld. My people chose to withhold it from those who would use it for harm." The ambassador's eyes widened. "Keeper Eliara, so you are alive. The High Command will be pleased when I bring you to them." "That won't be happening," Jack said, moving to stand beside her. "Coordinates set," Eliara told Rogers quietly. "Ready when you are." Rogers nodded. "Ambassador, this conversation is over." "Dauntless out?" The screen went dark. "Engage jump drive now." The stars outside blurred as the ship leaped into faster-than-light travel. The Xylorian ships tried to follow, but couldn't match their sudden acceleration. "They'll track us," Jack warned. "I know," Eliara said, "but we have a head start. And I've set a complex route." For the next 10 hours, the Dauntless jumped from point to point, following Elira's directions. Each jump took them farther from known space into regions not on any Earth maps. Finally, they arrived at what looked like an empty region of space. "No planets, no stars nearby?" "There's nothing here," Rogers said, confused. Eliara smiled. "Look closer." She adjusted the ship's sensors. Suddenly, a massive structure appeared on their screens. It was hidden within an asteroid field, a beautiful, crystalline space station glowing with soft blue light. "The last Lyrian city," Eliara said proudly. "Home to 10,000 survivors." "It's beautiful," Jack whispered. A soft chime sounded from the communications system. A gentle voice spoke in the Lyrian language. Eliara responded, then turned to Rogers. "They welcome us and offer sanctuary. They've detected the Xylorian ships following our trail. We should dock quickly." The Dauntless approached the hidden station. Huge doors opened, revealing a docking bay large enough for the Earth ship. Once inside, the doors closed behind them. They were greeted by a group of Lyrians led by an older male with long silver hair. Eliara rushed forward and embraced him. "Nelox," she said joyfully, "you made it safely." "As did you, thanks to these humans." Nelox bowed to Captain Rogers and his crew. "You have our eternal gratitude for protecting our keeper." Rogers nodded respectfully. "She's very special. We couldn't let the Xylorians take her." "Come," Nelox said. "We must prepare. The Xylorians will be here soon." Inside the station, Jack marveled at the Lyrian city. It was like nothing he had ever seen. Crystal towers rose toward a transparent dome that showed the stars outside. Plants and trees grew everywhere, and soft music seemed to come from the walls themselves. "Your home is amazing," he told Eliara as they followed Nelox. "This is just a shadow of what our world was," she said sadly. "But it is enough. We survive. We keep our knowledge safe." They were taken to a control room where Lyrians monitored space around their hidden station. "3 Xylorian warships approaching," one of them reported. "They will be here in 20 minutes. "Activate the shield," Nelox ordered. "Prepare the defenders." Eliara turned to Jack and the other humans. "You will see now why the Xylorians fear our knowledge, why they want it so badly." The Lyrians worked at crystal control panels. Outside, a shimmer spread across space as an invisible shield surrounded the station. Then, from hidden ports, hundreds of small, glowing orbs emerged. "What are those?" Jack asked. "We call them guardians," Eliara explained. "They are not weapons as you understand them. They don't destroy, they redirect." The Xylorian ships appeared, weapons ready. They fired at the station, but their energy blasts were absorbed by the shield. Then the glowing orbs moved toward them, surrounding each ship. "Watch," Eliara said softly. The orbs pulsed with light. Suddenly, the Xylorian ships vanished. "Where did they go?" Rogers asked, amazed. "Back to their home system," Nelox explained. "The Guardians create temporary space folds. The Xylorians cannot harm us, and we do not harm them. This is the technology they want Eliara said. Imagine if they could send entire fleets across the galaxy instantly. No world would be safe. Jack understood now why protecting this knowledge was so important. The Lyrians hadn't developed weapons, but their defensive technology was beyond anything he had ever seen. Later, as the humans were given quarters in the Lyrian city, Nellox spoke with Captain Rogers. Your ship is welcome to stay until repairs are complete, he said. And we would like to propose a formal alliance with Earth. We have much to offer each other. I think Earth would be very interested in that, Rogers replied. Jack found Eliara in a garden overlooking the stars. She turned. As he approached, her face glowing in the soft light. So what happens now? He asked. You're home with your people. Yes, she said, where I belong. She took his hands in hers. But I have been thinking about my future, about our future. Our future? Jack's heart beat faster. The alliance Nellox proposed will need diplomats. People who understand both humans and Lyrians. Her silver eyes met his. I would like to be one of those people. With you, if you wish it. Jack pulled her close. From slave gift to diplomat. That's quite a journey. A journey that began when you removed my chains, she reminded him, when you gave me freedom instead of ownership. And found love in return, he finished, before kissing her softly above them. The stars shone through the crystal dome of the last Lyrian city. Not as prisoners or protectors, but as equals, Jack and Eliara faced the future together, proof that compassion could bridge the gap between worlds and transform even the darkest beginnings into something beautiful.